On June 4th, the British Daily Telegraph website published an article titled "China Riding the Wind and Waves in the Next Wave of Industrialization, the West Wakes Up or Sinks." The author is Matthew Lin. The article is excerpted as follows. The first commercial flight of the C919 is a major milestone for China, as it finally has a domestically produced jetliner that can compete with Boeing and Airbus. China's progress does not stop there. Automaker BYD has just surpassed Volkswagen in domestic car sales and is joining other Chinese automakers in expanding into other parts of the world. Additionally, Beijing has announced plans for the first manned mission to the moon. Putting these together, one thing becomes clear. China has started the second wave of industrialization. It has moved well beyond basic manufacturing and is now dabbling in industries such as aerospace, where the West once smugly thought it had an unassailable lead. On May 28, the first commercial flight of C919, China Eastern Airlines MU-9191, took off from Shanghai Hongqiao International Airport. Published by Xinhua News Agency. This should ring alarm bells in the UK, US and other European economies. China is about to upend the established order in a range of industries. It makes no sense to think that we can compete with subsidies, tariffs, or industrial strategies. If we don't start acting sooner, China will leave us so far behind that we won't be able to catch up. When the C919 made its debut, established aircraft makers were understandably putting on composure. I think it would be foolish to be overly anxious about it, Boeing Chief Executive Dave Calhoun said when asked about possible competition from the plane, which will go head-to-head with the company's 737 and Airbus A320. Well, Dave, good luck with that thought. Losing share in China, which is inevitable, will be very difficult for Boeing and Airbus, and both companies are bound to reduce production. The same goes for cars. While not many have noticed yet, a new generation of Chinese automakers, led by BYD, is beginning to dominate its domestic market and leverage its huge domestic sales to produce attractive and price-competitive vehicles to market globally. The Chinese have a huge domestic market that they can use to perfect products, reduce costs, and then get those products into the rest of the world. Before long, industries such as pharmaceuticals, telecommunications, retail, consumer goods and financial services will face the same pressure, with a slew of new competitors taking on Western companies for Western markets. The first wave of China's industrialization was mainly to provide cheap manufactured goods to developed countries. Now this wave will directly compete with Western companies. If we don't act now, we will be far behind. The C919's first commercial flight should drive home that point for everyone. The rise of all countries and nations is guided and based on cultural innovation and civilization progress. In the uninterrupted history of more than 5,000 years, a splendid Chinese civilization has accumulated. In the century-old struggle led by the party, the Chinese-style modernization path has been blazed, a new form of civilization has been created, and the true meaning of history has been revealed. To open up and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics, it is the only way to integrate the basic principles of Marxism with China's specific reality and with China's excellent traditional culture. Adhere to the two combinations and constantly open up a new realm of the modernization of Marxism in China. The second combination shows that our party's understanding of China's road history and system has reached a new height, that our party's historical confidence and cultural confidence have reached a new height, and that our party is promoting cultural development while inheriting China's excellent traditional culture. The consciousness of innovation has reached a new height. It is our new cultural mission in the new era to continue to promote cultural prosperity, build a culturally powerful country, and build a modern civilization of the Chinese nation at a new starting point. From the perspective of the overall strategy for the development of the party and the country, General Secretary Xi Jinping issued a historical declaration. The rise of all countries and nations is guided and based on cultural innovation and civilization progress. In the uninterrupted history of more than 5,000 years, a splendid Chinese civilization has accumulated. In the century-old struggle led by the party, the Chinese-style modernization path has been blazed, a new form of human civilization has been created, and the true meaning of history has been revealed. To open up and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics, it is the only way to integrate the basic principles of Marxism with China's specific reality and with China's excellent traditional culture. Adhere to the two combinations and constantly open up a new realm of the modernization of Marxism in China. The second combination shows that our party's understanding of China's road, theory, and system has reached a new height, that our party's historical confidence and cultural confidence have reached a new height, and that our party is promoting cultural development while inheriting China's excellent traditional culture. Consciousness of innovation has reached a new height. It is our new cultural mission in the new era to continue to promote cultural prosperity, build a culturally powerful country, and build a modern civilization of the Chinese nation at a new starting point. From the perspective of the overall strategy for the development of the party and the country, General Secretary Xi Jinping issued a historical declaration of the Communist Party of China and the Chinese people in the new era. We must strengthen our cultural self-confidence, shoulder our mission, work hard, and work together to create a new culture that belongs to our era. Modern civilization of the Chinese nation. 1. The necessity of the times. Yan'an, Shaanxi, Yin ruins, Anyang, Henan. In the two iconic places in the history of the Chinese nation, through the smoke and clouds of history, they still bloom on the land of China to illuminate the glory of ancient and modern times. In late October 2022, less than a week after the end of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, General Secretary Xi Jinping came to these two places to continue the cultural genes of our party and explore the code of the endless Chinese civilization. In Yan'an, looking up at the site of the 7th Congress of the Communist Party of China and the former office of Mao Zedong and other revolutionaries of the older generation, General Secretary Xi Jinping said with emotion, "The site of the Yan'an Revolution has witnessed the glorious course of our party leading the Chinese Revolution and exploring the modernization of Marxism in China during the Yan'an period. A book that can never be finished." Tourists visit the Yan'an Revolutionary Memorial Hall, photo taken on October 13, 2021. Published by Xinhua News Agency, photo by Su Hongxin. In Anyang, inspecting the ruins of the Yin ruins, observing bronzes, jades, oracle bone inscriptions and other cultural relics, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out the profound meaning of this trip, to learn and understand Chinese civilization more deeply, to serve the present, and to provide guidance for better construction of the modern civilization of the Chinese nation. For thousands of years, the Chinese nation has followed a path of civilization development that is different from other countries and nations. The extensive and profound Chinese excellent traditional culture has always nourished the sustainable development of the Chinese nation. After the flames of revolution, the period of construction, and the turmoil of reform, when socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era shows unprecedented vitality, more and more people are thinking and asking, how could an idea from Europe take root in China, thousands of miles away, and grow into the greatest civilization creation in human history from the 20th to the 21st century? When we embark on the new journey of the second centenary goal and take the unprecedented Chinese-style modernization road, how can we use Chinese principles to summarize Chinese experience, elevate Chinese experience to Chinese theory, and achieve spiritual independence? Insist on combining the basic principles of Marxism with China's specific reality and with China's excellent traditional culture. On July 1, 2021, on the occasion of the 100th birthday of the Communist Party of China, standing on the Tiananmen Gate, standing at the historical intersection of the two centenary goals, General Secretary Xi Jinping gave a firm and powerful answer. It was born as the times require and keeps pace with the times. The two combinations were successively written into the resolution of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China on the major achievements and historical experience of the party's centennial struggle and the report of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. Adhere to the second combination and activate the long-standing Chinese civilization with the power of the truth of Marxism. Marxism has also obtained rich nourishment from the fertile soil of China's excellent traditional culture, and has distinctive Chinese characteristics, Chinese style, and Chinese style. This is the logical necessity of upholding and developing the truth. On the banks of the Xiangjiang River, Yuelu Academy has been singing songs for thousands of years. On September 17, 2020, under drizzling rain, General Secretary Xi Jinping came to this Millennium School for inspection. Looking at the high-hanging plaque of seeking truth from facts, he meditated for a long time and said earnestly, "We must localize the truth." This is Yuelu Academy, taken on April 13, 2021, in Changzhou, Hunan Province. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Chen Jinhua. Looking back 100 years, at the time of saving the nation, Marxism started the process of integrating with Chinese culture as soon as it came to China. The Communist Party of China on the stage of history not only represents a brand new political force and revolutionary direction, but also represents a brand new cultural force and cultural direction. In Kupu, Shandong Province, in front of the Wanren Palace wall at the south gate of the Confucian Temple, tourists from all over the world come here to listen to the humanistic stories that have been passed down through the ages, and feel the wisdom of the sages tempered by time. This is the Wanren Palace wall of the Confucius Temple. Drone photo, taken on September 26, 2020 in Koufu, Shandong, the hometown of Confucius. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Guo Sima. Marx entering the Confucian Temple. This article, written by Guo Moruo in 1925, used dramatic language to allow Marx and Confucius to have an encounter across time and space, expressing the ideal social goals of Horst and Joan. It was so coincidental. The Communist Society proposed by Marxism and the Great Harmony Society of traditional Chinese culture, the concept of practice of Marxism and the concept of knowledge and action of traditional Chinese culture, the view of mass history of Marxism and the people-oriented thought of traditional Chinese culture, the inner meaning of the two, integration and high compatibility, have always been the source of thought, flowing in the blood of the Chinese communists. To enrich oneself by constantly absorbing all the outstanding cultural achievements in human history, and to improve oneself by responding to the new issues of the times and new challenges of development, Marxism never ends the truth, constantly opens up the road leading to the truth. Mao Zedong thought, Deng Xiaoping theory, the important thought of three represents the scientific outlook on development, and Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Our party adheres to the two combinations and continuously promotes the modernization of Marxism in China, which has not only profoundly changed China, also greatly enriched and developed Marxism. Pursue the truth, reveal the truth, and practice the truth. As General Secretary Xi Jinping said profoundly, only when the truth is rooted in the country and the fertile soil of the nation's history and culture can the tree of truth of Marxism take root and flourish. This is the inevitable practice of exploring the correct development path. According to Marx, all social life is essentially practical. In May 2018, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out at the meeting commemorating the 200th anniversary of Marx's birth, only by closely combining the basic principles of scientific socialism with the specific reality of the country, historical and cultural traditions, and the requirements of the times, and constantly exploring and summarizing in practice, can we put the blueprint becomes a beautiful reality. Turning to the turbulent red chapter, the excellent traditional Chinese culture has always been the source of power contained in it, throughout the practice process of the Communist Party of China for 100 years. Communists pay extreme attention to their culture. In 1944, American journalist Foreman went to Yan'an and the North China anti-Japanese base area for 5 months of interviews, writing down this point of view. In Northern Journey, Foreman's records show that this may be one of the answers to the mystery of the Chinese Communist Party's ability to root itself deeply among the vast majority of Chinese people. Every step of the Chinese road is based on the practical exploration of China's national conditions and Chinese culture. Today, in the process of comprehensively promoting Chinese-style modernization, Marxism, and excellent traditional Chinese culture are still being integrated more and more deeply. In the way of thinking of reasoning, it is presented in the expression of both quality and text. Use the wisdom of renewing the old and reforming the new to promote reform and innovation. Apply ancient teachings such as cultivating all things together to the construction of ecological civilization. Promote the construction of a community of shared future for mankind with the concept of concord and harmony. Adhere to the fundamental guiding ideology of Marxism, and seek the source of living water from the excellent traditional Chinese culture, so the practice of Marxism in China is full of vitality. This is the inevitable mission of pioneering and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics. General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized in the report of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, upholding and developing Marxism must be combined with the excellent traditional Chinese culture. At the Symposium on Cultural Inheritance and Development on June 2, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that the second combination is our party's profound summary of the historical experience of the Sinicization of Marxism and the modernization of Marxism, and a deep grasp of the laws of the development of Chinese civilization. A series of major conclusions indicate that the Chinese Communists' understanding of socialism with Chinese characteristics has entered the level of culture and civilization more deeply. Affirming the spiritual lifeline from the modern dimension and enhancing cultural identity have provided more abundant spiritual motivation for the development of socialist culture with Chinese characteristics and provided the necessary ideological resources for realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Only by not forgetting the original can we open up the future. General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized, it is necessary to organically combine adhering to Marxism with promoting China's excellent traditional culture, and unswervingly follow the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. This is the call of the times, but also the necessity of the times. 2. Leap of thought. If there is no 5,000-year Chinese civilization, how can there be any Chinese characteristics? If it is not Chinese characteristics, how can we have the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics that is so successful today? On March 22, 2021, General Secretary Xi Jinping, who was on an inspection tour in Fujian, came to Zhuxiwan to talk about the past and present, and to clarify the truth that we must promote the Sinicization of Marxism as we follow the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Tourists visit the Weihai Jingxi and Zuxi Garden in Weihai Mountain, Fujian Province, photographed on June 6, 2022. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Zhang Kahong. At the Symposium on Cultural Inheritance and Development, General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized that combining the basic principles of Marxism with China's specific reality and with China's excellent traditional culture is a regular understanding we have come to in exploring the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. It is the greatest magic weapon for our success. Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, founded in adhering to the two combinations, is contemporary Chinese Marxism, 21st century Marxism, the essence of Chinese culture and Chinese spirit, and has realized the modernization of Marxism in China New Leap. This idea shows that Marxism is highly compatible with Chinese excellent traditional culture. On January 18, 2016, the Central Party School of the Communist Party of China in the western suburbs of Beijing. At the special seminar on studying and implementing the spirit of the 5th plenary session of the 18th Central Committee of the Party for major leading cadres at the provincial and ministerial levels, General Secretary Xi Jinping personally delivered the first lesson. Common prosperity is a basic goal of Marxism and a basic ideal of the people of our country since ancient times. Confucius said, "Don't worry about scarcity but worry about inequality, don't worry about poverty but worry about anxiety." Mencius said, "Old, old, and people are old, young, and people are young." Book of Rights, Li Yun vividly describes the state of a well-off society and a great harmony society. With an eloquent discussion of both ancient and modern times, Chinese and Western, the theoretical interpretation of realizing social sharing and realizing everyone's free and comprehensive development proposed by Marx and Engels was carried out in a Chinese way, which left a lot of aftertaste for the students present. Only when they fit together can they be organically combined. Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era organically combines communist beliefs and socialist beliefs with the millennium ideals of the Chinese nation, advocates the journey of the Great Road, the world is for the public, and cultivates a fertile soil for socialism with Chinese characteristics. Organically combine the socialist system with Chinese characteristics with the civilization of rights and music, advocate the order of etiquette, harmony between heaven and earth, and build a political order in which the party central committee sits in the middle of the military account, and the chariots, horses, and guns each show their strengths, and the overall situation of the game is clear. Organically combine the people-centered development thought with the people-oriented thought, advocate the people are the foundation of the country, and govern with virtue, so that our party always has a solid foundation and the greatest confidence in governing. Organically combine the socialist core values with the traditional value orientation of the Chinese nation, advocate continuous self-improvement, social integrity, and arouse the vigorous and heroic Chinese spirit. Combining the advanced socialist culture with the excellent traditional Chinese culture, advocating writing conveys the truth and educates people, providing an inexhaustible source of culture for the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Combining the concept of a community with a shared future for mankind with the wisdom of harmony and harmony, advocating credibility and harmony, friendship, and good neighborliness, leading China in the new era to join hands with the world and promote the common values of all mankind. A series of iconic and leading new ideas, new viewpoints, and new conclusions have been continuously produced, and the tree of truth of Marxism rooted in the fertile soil of China has borne fruit. This idea reveals a new organic and unified cultural life body. Continuing the Chinese nation's tradition of compiling history and establishing codes, preserving history to inspire wisdom, and using culture to educate people, on the eve of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, the first to third editions of the Fuxing Library, a major cultural project approved by the Party Central Committee, were published. General Secretary Xi Jinping wrote a preface to this imperial tome. In the preface, General Secretary Xi Jinping encouraged to extract the essence of history and promote theoretical innovation and constantly promote the modernization of Marxism in China. This is the large-scale historical document series Fuxing Bunko, File Photo. Published by Xinhua News Agency, photo courtesy of Zonghua Book Company. Use the rules of the past to open up the face of the present. The combination of the basic principles of Marxism with China's specific reality and with the excellent traditional Chinese culture has produced a profound chemical reaction and created a new organic and unified cultural life body. Let Marxism become Chinese, the excellent traditional Chinese culture become modern, and let the new culture formed through combination become the cultural form of Chinese-style modernization. Clearly put forward the important assertion of the second combination. Persist in making the past serve the present and weeding out the old to bring forth the new, integrate the essence of Marxist thought with the essence of Chinese excellent traditional culture, and integrate with the common values that the people use every day without realizing it, constantly endow scientific theories with distinctive Chinese characteristics, and constantly consolidate the era of the Sinicization of Marxism. Marxism has firmly taken root in China due to the historical foundation and mass foundation of modernization. Emphasis on promoting the creative transformation and innovative development of Chinese excellent traditional culture. In the process of realizing the Chinese dream, the Chinese people, according to the new progress of the times, promote the creative transformation and innovative development of Chinese civilization, activate its vitality, and carry forward the cultural spirit that transcends time and space, transcends the country, is full of eternal charm, and has contemporary value. Let the cultural relics collected in museums, the heritage displayed on the vast land, and the words written in ancient books come alive, and the cultural innovation and creativity of the whole nation will burst out. This idea embodies the cultural subjectivity of the Chinese nation. Sichuan Maishan, Sansu Temple. The century-old ginkgo and the 1,000-year-old yellow kudzu are full of vitality. On June 8, 2022, General Secretary Xi Jinping walked in here and inspected the 1,000-year-old temple. He said with deep emotion, "A drop of water can see the sun, and a Sansu temple can show the profoundness of our Chinese culture. We say we must be firm cultural self-confidence. China has the 3 Soviets, this is an important example." From cultural self-confidence, the General Secretary also talked about road self-confidence. The Chinese nation has a profound heritage of more than 5,000 years of civilization and history, and we lead the people on the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. This is the Sansu Temple, drone photo, taken on June 22, 2022 in Maishan, Sichuan. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Shen Bohan. The modernized Marxism in China not only maintains the soul of Marxism, but also has the shape of Chinese characteristics, Chinese style, and demonstrates the cultural self-confidence, cultural consciousness, and cultural independence of the Chinese people. Only by transforming the strength of national power into the prosperity of civilization, firmly following its own path, and becoming the main body of the new civilization, can a nation stand proudly among the nations of the world. The light of thought illuminates the way forward. General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out profoundly in the report of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, why the Chinese Communist Party can do it and why socialism with Chinese characteristics is good. In the final analysis, it is the practice of Marxism, which is the practice of Marxism in China and the times. 3. Cultural consciousness. The central axis of Beijing extends to the north. At the foot of Yanshan Mountain, a group of simple and elegant buildings are located in the mountains. In the south square of the Wenhua Hall of the central headquarters of the China National Version Museum, a stone sculpture stands majestically. The 4 characters continuous context are engraved on it, announcing the mission of this brand new cultural hall. Continue to pass on the only uninterrupted civilization in the world. On June 1, 2023, General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized when he came here for an inspection. Willingness and ability to handle this major event well. This is the Wenhan Hall of the central headquarters of the National Edition Museum of China, taken in May 2023. Xinhua News Agency. Where a tree has roots, it can grow. Where water has a source, it can rush. Grasp the distinctive characteristics and unique positioning of Chinese excellent traditional culture, and firmly guard the root and soul of the Chinese nation. Great China, with a long history and a great civilization. The excellent traditional Chinese culture created and continued by the Chinese nation in thousands of years of history is the root and soul of the Chinese nation. Putting China's excellent traditional culture in the perspective of civilization inheritance, the progress of the times and the development of the world, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that there are many important elements in China's excellent traditional culture, which jointly shape the outstanding characteristics of Chinese civilization: continuity, innovative, unified, inclusive, peaceful. With the development of civilization for more than 5,000 years, the Chinese nation has created and inherited a unique and splendid civilization, and the excellent traditional culture of the nation has always subtly influenced the way of thinking and behavior of the Chinese people. Chinese excellent traditional culture is our deepest cultural soft power, and it is also the cultural fertile ground for socialism with Chinese characteristics. In October 2014, when presiding over the 18th collective study of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out, to realize the two centenary goals and the Chinese dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, we need to give full play to the great wisdom of the entire party and the people of all ethnic groups in the country today, and we also need to make full use of the great wisdom accumulated by the Chinese nation for more than 5,000 years. Wisdom. From the Qin Mountain Resort in Hebei to the Guangji Bridge in Chaozhou, Guangdong, from the ancient city of Pinjiao in Shanxi to the Dunhuang Research Institute in Gansu, cultural footprint spreads all over the country, investigates cultural heritage, and explores the roots of civilization. Along the way, his sincere feelings for this fertile land and his deep respect for the glorious history of the Chinese nation have been consistent and endless. When working in Zhending, Hebei more than 30 years ago, Comrade Xi Jinping once confessed affectionately, "A person who loves the land of China will love every stream, every inch of land, and every page of glorious history." In Zhending, organized the compilation of the popular book Zhending Ancient and Modern, covering the history of Zhending in ancient, modern, and modern stages. With this book, you can better learn from the past and inspire the present. There are many tourists on Nanhou Street in the historical and cultural district of 3 lanes and 7 alleys in Fuzhou. Photo taken on July 10, 2021. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Zhang Kahong. In Fuzhou, we made every effort to protect cultural relics and historical sites such as the 3 lanes and 7 alleys, emphasizing that to evaluate whether a system or a force is progressive or reactionary, the important point is to look at its attitude towards history and culture. In Zhejiang, it is pointed out that we are stepping on the river from history and receiving the expectations of the people of one side. We should shoulder the mission and make sincere dedication, so that our culture will continue and our creation will continue to last. After working in the central government, he emphasized that leading cadres should adhere to the correct view of political achievements, and respect history, culture, and ecology. Combining the essence of Chinese civilization with the standpoints and methods of Marxism, and forging ahead in the continuation of the national cultural blood, General Secretary Xi Jinping, with the historical confidence and strategic sobriety of a Marxist statesman, injects solid foundations into the inheritance and development of China's excellent traditional culture, the ideological power of rooting and casting the soul. Expand the depth of history and expand the cultural foundation of the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. I believe that realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation is the greatest dream of the Chinese nation since modern times. At the end of November 2012, when visiting the National Museum Road to Revival exhibition, General Secretary Xi Jinping solemnly declared, "This is the first collective activity of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the 18th CPC Central Committee. Tracing back to the glorious history of 5,000 years and starting with more than 100 years of modern struggles, the leaders of China in the new era have opened a new chapter in governing the country with a grand view of history and a grand view of culture." Also during this visit to the exhibition, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out the correct path to realize the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. This path is socialism with Chinese characteristics. Where does the Chinese characteristics of socialism with Chinese characteristics come from? Where does the Chineseness of sinicized Marxism come from? At the National Propaganda and Ideology Work Conference more than half a year later, General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized that the propaganda and interpretation of Chinese characteristics must be clear in 4 ways. Clarify clearly the historical traditions, cultural heritage, and basic national conditions of each country and nation are different. Clarify clearly that Chinese culture accumulates the deepest spiritual pursuit of the Chinese nation. Clarify clearly that the excellent traditional Chinese culture is the outstanding advantage of the Chinese nation. Clarify clearly that socialism with Chinese characteristics is rooted in the fertile soil of Chinese culture, reflects the will of the Chinese people, and adapts to the development and progress of China and the times. This kind of thinking instantly lengthens the time axis of Chinese characteristics and connects it to the deep pool of Chinese culture. A foreign scholar commented, "Using history as a guide to the present, capitalism governs the country." General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized, governing the country and society, many things we encounter today can find their shadows in history, and many things that happened in history can also be used as a mirror for today. Where a country is established, the system must be inspected. The views of the ancient Chinese are deeply enlightening to today. Adhering to the principle that institutional advantages are the greatest advantages of a country, the fourth plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee systematically described and deployed the institutional map of China's governance for the first time in the history of the party, laying a solid institutional foundation for China's long-term stability. In the new development concept of innovation, coordination, green, openness, and sharing, and in the new development pattern of the domestic cycle is the main body, and the domestic and international dual cycles promote each other, we read the noble monk and heaven and man. Unity and other historical wisdom. From the sense of urgency that the Chinese people's rice bowl should be firmly in their own hands at all times, to the 14th five-year plan setting up a special chapter to make strategic arrangements for overall development and security, we have seen that the wise man prevents disasters. A wise man plans to worry about the future sobriety. While adhering to the great Tao of Marxism, fully absorbing the wisdom of China's excellent traditional culture, General Secretary Xi Jinping has widely applied Chinese culture to all aspects of governance, based on China's excellent traditional culture and activated China's excellent traditional culture. From the perspective of value and civilization, it will be created and developed at a high level, making it a powerful force to promote the development of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Open up the space for innovation, master the initiative of thought and culture. Freedom of thought again. The second combination allows us to make full use of the precious resources of Chinese excellent traditional culture in a broader cultural space, and explore future-oriented theoretical and institutional innovations. On the occasion of the 95th anniversary of the May 4th movement, General Secretary Xi Jinping walked into the lush green campus of Peking University and pointed out in a discussion with teachers and students. After repeated solicitation of opinions and comprehensive understanding of various aspects, we propose to advocate prosperity, democracy, civilization, and harmony, to advocate freedom, equality, justice, and the rule of law, to advocate patriotism, dedication, integrity, and friendliness, and to actively cultivate and practice the socialist core values. Awaken the deepest cultural genes of the Chinese people with the Chinese dream, creatively condense the connotation of excellent traditional culture into the socialist core values, promote the formation of a social trend of advocating morality, goodness, and striving for progress, use cultural identity to forge a sense of the community of the Chinese nation, let the living local culture pass on. The party's Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core views the important function of culture in promoting the progress of human civilization from the perspective of history, grasps the important role of culture in leading social change in the tide of the times, and gives full play to the important value of culture in creating a better life in the all-round development of people. In March 2021, at the Friendship Hotel in Beijing, the atmosphere of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference was warm. Post-70s, 80s, 90s, and 00s, before they go out to see the world, China can already look at the world. General Secretary Xi Jinping's words touched the hearts of countless Chinese people. Today, the Chinese people's ambition, backbone, and confidence have been greatly enhanced, and a more active spiritual force has been radiated. 4. Renewal of civilization. This is the Liangzhu Ancient City Ruins Park, drone photo, taken in Yuhang District, Hangzhou City, Zhejiang Province on July 6, 2022. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Huang Zhangji. Outside the main entrance of Liangzhu Ruins Park in Hangzhou, Zhejiang, the 20-meter-tall sculpture Liu Hui Lianjiao stands tall, and the jumping flames at the top symbolize the endless growth of Chinese civilization. At the beginning of the new century, the sound of quarrying and blasting was here one after another. In July 2003, Xi Jinping, then secretary of the Zhejiang Provincial Party Committee, visited the Liangzhu site for investigation and gave a clear instruction: the Liangzhu site is a sacred place that demonstrates the history of China's 5,000-year civilization. It is a rare and precious treasure, and we must protect it. Good. It is difficult to shut down 6 quarries in Deakin County, Huzhu, which affect the safety of the ruins. Those present reported truthfully. Tomorrow, I will go to Huzhu. Comrade Xi Jinping made a decisive decision and rushed to Huzhu the next day for investigation. Soon, several quarries were completely closed. The green hills are still green, and the ruins are reborn. In July 2019, the site of Liangzhu ancient city was included in the World Heritage List. The world understands the early Chinese civilization more than 1,000 years in advance. Only by tracing the deepest history can we open the longest future. Since the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, General Secretary Xi Jinping has carried out comprehensive and in-depth thinking on the inheritance, promotion, and innovative development of Chinese civilization from the strategic height of upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics and realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, and proposed a series of new major conclusions, important ideas, and important viewpoints. Tourists visit the Guancheng scenic spot in Jiayiguan, Gansu. Photo taken on March 4, 2023, drone photo. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Fan Paishan. In the number 1 Grand Pass in the world, Jiayiguan City in Gansu Province, it is urged to protect the everlasting roots of the Chinese nation's spirit. In the Yonggang Grottos in Shaanxi, it is pointed out that historical and cultural heritage is a precious put protection first. In Sanfang Kixiang, Fuzhou, Fujian, it is emphasized that the ancient buildings, old houses, and old blocks must be treated with a heart of cherishment and respect. On May 17, 2016, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out at the Symposium on Philosophy and Social Science work, to strengthen the self-confidence in the road, theory, and system of socialism with Chinese characteristics is, in the final analysis, to strengthen cultural self-confidence. Cultural self-confidence is more basic and more important. Deeper, longer-lasting power. Strengthening cultural self-confidence, in the final analysis, lies in forging new brilliance of culture and creating a new form of civilization. History tells us, since modern times, facing the impact of Western capitalist industrial civilization, Chinese civilization has been advancing in exploration. Various schools of thought, various institutional models, and political forces of all parties have taken turns to take the stage, but they have not found a way to achieve national independence. The correct path and effective method for the liberation of the people, and failed to find the correct direction and effective path for the innovation and development of Chinese civilization. Reality enlightens us, the party adheres to the guidance of Marxism, and constantly develops a national, scientific, and popular socialist culture that is oriented toward modernization, the world, and the future, and has achieved the most extensive and profound transformation of traditional Chinese culture in history. The development of Chinese culture has injected new and powerful vitality, forging new splendor of Chinese civilization. The future calls us. We should not lie in the historical palace of Chinese civilization and be cheating old people, but strive to build a modern civilization of the Chinese nation. It is not only necessary to create new and greater miracles in economic and social development, but also to create new and greater brilliance in cultural construction and civilization development. The summer sun shines on the lowest slope of the Liangjie River, and there is an endless stream of people who come to visit and study in the square for the practice of civilization in the new era. Back then, Xi Jinping, who came to jump in line, asked the folks, "What kind of day do you think is the best?" Some people told him that you will no longer beg for food, you can eat enough, and in your next life you can eat fine grains if you want, and you can often eat meat. Carrying a golden pole. In today's Liangjie, the rural industry is booming, and the golden poles of the villagers are becoming more and more stable. A small mountain village, engraved with the original mission, condensed the great changes of the times. General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out at the second plenary session of the 6th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, our party led the people not only to create the two miracles of rapid economic development and long-term social stability that are rarely seen in the world, but also successfully walk out of the Chinese-style modernization. The road creates a new form of human civilization. Chinese-style modernization endows Chinese civilization with modern power, and Chinese civilization endows Chinese-style modernization with profound heritage. This new form of human civilization is deeply rooted in the excellent traditional Chinese culture, embodies the advanced nature of scientific socialism, learns from and absorbs all the outstanding achievements of human civilization, represents the development direction of human civilization progress, and shows a new pattern different from the Western modernization model. Picture. Uphold and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics, and promote the coordinated development of material civilization, political civilization, spiritual civilization, social civilization, and ecological civilization. This new form of human civilization includes all the creations of the people led by the Communist Party of China, and has made Chinese contributions to mankind's exploration of a better social system. Marx pointed out, what nations do as nations, they do for human society. It is not a patented product of a few countries, nor is it a multiple-choice question. This new form of human civilization constantly pursues exchanges and mutual learning among civilizations, and provides Chinese solutions to cope with changes in the world, times, and history. Peace, development, fairness, justice, democracy, and freedom are the common values of all mankind and the lofty goals of the United Nations. The goals are far from being accomplished, and we still have to work hard. In September 2015, on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations, General Secretary Xi Jinping proposed common values for all mankind to the world for the first time at the United Nations Forum. In the face of the world's major changes unseen in a century, with a deep understanding of harmony in diversity, General Secretary Xi Jinping extended the distinctive pursuit of the Chinese nation to the world dimension, realizing the groundbreaking connection between Chinese and foreign discourse systems in the field of values. On March 15, 2023, at the dialogue between the Communist Party of China and the world's high-level political parties, leaders of more than 500 political parties and political organizations from more than 150 countries gathered on the cloud. General Secretary Xi Jinping solemnly proposed a Global Civilization Initiative. Jointly building the Belt and Road Initiative, Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative, today's China is committed to promoting the construction of a community of shared future for mankind with an open mind to embrace world civilizations, and has always been a builder of world peace and global development. Contributors and defenders of the international order. The best inheritance of history is to create a new history, the greatest respect for human civilization is to create a new form of human civilization. General Secretary Xi Jinping made a strong voice of the times at the Cultural Inheritance and Development Symposium. At a new historical starting point, absorbing the cultural nutrients accumulated by the long struggle of the Chinese nation for more than 5,000 years, the Communist Party of China and the Chinese people in the new era will certainly be able to take on the new cultural mission and build a modern civilization of the Chinese nation in the process of promoting Chinese-style modernization.